because it used to be under the police, go after people, but have a professional investigation. If people stole any money, charge them, put them before the court. That's how you operate. I heard these were forensic audits. Forensic audits are done with the purpose of prosecution, not for kiteshore news. You know, as fodder for kiteshore news and political fodder. It's all fake. This is the last remaining straw of this government, the only plank that it can say anything about. It's already destroyed the plank that they will do better on security matters, because people now know that this country is seen increase in crime since they took office. It used to champion that a lot, saying with all the security people it had, could do better. That they would do better on the economy. They had a long list of people waiting to come and invest in Guyana. None has come so far. Economy is in shambles. That they will bring greater benefits to people. They took away from the pensioners. They took away from almost every conservative group. 1.6 billion from our homes through the 10,000 grants, and they're spending 500 million to clean up the country and expect us to be grateful for this. You know, you took 1.6 billion from us and you spent 500 million to clean up. And you took it 1.6 billion from the kids, and we must be grateful for that. So they've destroyed that plank too. On what else are they going to campaign? That they campaigned on, that transparency issue has gone out the window. Very few public tenders, government spending, took the youth salary increases for themselves, all of these private deals with their supporters, that has gone out the window. The only thing they're hanging on to is that the PPP was corrupt, and they're finding it hard to prove even that. And now, what they're doing, it's propaganda. So that's the last remaining plank for this government. Long before the next elections become due, people would recognize the true nature of this government. APNU supporters as well as PPP supporters, because we're opposition for the country, not for PPP areas alone. I've made it clear our support comes from PPP, strongholds, a lot of it. But the causes that we champion will not be only PPP supporters' causes. That if there is a problem in Linden where people run afoul of this government and the government tries to infringe on their rights, we'll stand by their side too, and any other part of the country. We are not opposition for PPP supporters alone. Thank you.
You mentioned the difference in philosophies as it relates to development. Government recently said that they're expecting an economic boom for the independence celebrations.
Economic boom for the independence?
Yeah.
Well, it is just, I don't know how to characterize this. It's the boom around the celebrations. But this is not private money. This is state's money. So you're taking $1 billion to celebrate independence, 1.2 billion in the budget for dietary, that's 2.2 billion. You can't keep Wales open by spending $1.7 billion. You can't help the rice farmers, which brought in $250 million US in 2014 that was spent in this economy, by spending $500 million, but you can spend $2.2 billion on that. What happens after the money is gone? Okay, so the hotels get a little bit more in that period. So you get, some people in the hotels. You have some increased spending in the economy for that period. What happened? Why did they shut down our matrimony? If that is so, you want to stimulate the economy around certain national events, why did they shut down our matrimony? We deliberately did something. I said when I was president, let us look at matrimony, that period, celebration of our Republican matrimony, August and December, around Christmas time. And any person who comes in, brings in RTs and all of those things, they'll get a special tax concession from the government for that in those 3 periods, because we wanted people to come home, we wanted them to spend, we wanted the private developers to be able to, make money, the promoters, etc., so they didn't have to pay a large amount of taxes, and that helped a lot. If that's the case, you have to fix the underlying fundamentals of the economy. And Jordan said 3 things, basically. He said, in his analysis, one is that there are soft commodity prices globally, and it would affect us. 2, that the US is ending TARP, and therefore, TARP is this special program that they had to help, and which led to this quantitative easing, the central banks buying bonds, etc., making money cheaper. The money supply grew significantly, so to help to stimulate economic growth after the 2007-2008 financial crisis. So they're ending that, so interest rates will rise. He said that may affect us. And then he spoke about deflation in the economy last year. So those are the 3 big things, external factors. That's why I said in the budget, where are the measures to address each of these measures to ring-fence our economy from those effects? The first should have been, one, that we allow looser money, because then that fights deflation, that we have an increase in money supply. Secondly, and there are fiscal measures you can use for that to happen too, but I'm just talking from a monetary perspective. Secondly, if commodity prices are low and we have to compete globally with people who maybe have lower cost of production, what do? You don't do, in a $230 billion budget, not give any help to the productive sector. You focus on increased productivity of those sectors, and secondly, cutting their cost of production. So then they can become a bit more globally competitive, so that they can compete even with the low prices to maintain economic activities. And then on the interest rate side, we can probably insulate. We don't have to worry about that too much, because many of our people don't borrow commercially abroad. We don't have major or significant national exposure. But those are the things that you need to address. The economic fundamentals, the threats to the economy. Not talk about, well, we can celebrate the independence and we'll have an economic boom. How does that translate into an economic boom? Excepting for that period when people come here, there'd be a little bit more money circulating in the economy. But if you're taking the money away from people through higher taxes, 140 items nearly, they have to pay higher taxes, or you're taking more money away from them, because now to renew their licenses for trade and for economic activities, they have to show they pay taxes for the past 7 years. So many people will go underground. You'll take a little bit more from them. Now people have to pay more for tires, etc. How are you're gonna increase disposable income and spending? In fact, the state will be collecting more from people. No, it's not going to be in circulation. And if that happens, and it is happening, that's why we see sloth in the entire country. I went to Corriverton Market and Port Morant and Comaka and in Bartica, and I went to Pomona area and the whole Essequibo coast past the Anna Regina place. And the markets here, I passed through New Amsterdam. Every single person, almost every single vendor complains. And these are not PPP people alone. Everyone complains. But the ministers sail through in their new fleets of vehicles and their long lines of cars, etc. And it seems as though they never stop there to talk to people, because they have this concept of the good life in the green economy. And we're getting neither. And so This is pure nonsense. It's pure nonsense that you can drive an economic boom by celebrating independence. If that's the case, every country will be celebrating every day. It's nonsense.